Let's now shift our focus to Ukraine. They say that Russian missiles struck two Black Sea grain ships on Monday. According to Ukrainian officials, a Russian missile hit a Palau-flagged vessel in Ukraine's southern port of Odesa, killing a Ukrainian national and injuring 5 crew members. The Ukrainian foreign minister, in fact, has said that the 2 ships were damaged in the Black Sea grain export hub without giving details on the ship's conditions. He condemned Russia's actions. This is the second such attack in as many days. And here's why this incident is particularly significant. While missile attacks during wartime are not new, Ukraine is seemingly blaming Russia for targeting the grain ships. This is about a war against resources. You see, Ukraine has called the Russian strike on the grain ship in Odesa as, quote-unquote, a deliberate terrorist tactic. And here's why. Ukraine, one of the world's leading grain producers and exporters, has been shipping about 4 million tons of grain each month through the Black Sea corridor. This was set up through a deal mediated by Turkey and the United Nations. The Russian leadership denies that its forces have targeted the civilian infrastructure of Ukrainian cities, villages and ports during the war, but Russia has been accused of destroying schools, businesses, and Ukrainian energy and water supply facilities. The missile on Ukrainian grain ship on Monday came a day after missiles hit Odesa city, causing damages but no apparent injuries. Ukraine's Restoration Ministry identified the ship attacked on Sunday as the St. Kitts and Nevis flagged Peresa, which had a cargo of 6,000 tons of corn. In a Facebook post, the Ukrainian official said the Peresa's 15-member crew of Syrian and Egyptian nationals was not injured. The ministry said the Peresa was the 20th civilian vessel to be damaged by Russian attacks. Last month, the St. Kitts and Nevis flagged bulk carrier Aya was hit by a Russian missile in the Black Sea. Another vessel, an Antigua flagged carrier, was damaged in a Russian missile strike in Odessa. You see, Russia has struck the port repeatedly in the war since its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Responding to the attack on Ukraine's grain ship, Ukraine's Deputy Prime Minister has identified the vessel as the Optima and said it arrived in Odessa hours before it was attacked. He said, and I'm quoting, "Russia is attempting in this way to destroy shipping in the Black Sea, guaranteeing food security. The consequences can only mean greater instability in sensitive regions dependent on food imports and tension in international relations." Like we said, this is a battle for trillions in resources. Separately, Ukraine's military intelligence agency has said that a Ukrainian sabotage operation had damaged a Russian mine-sweeping ship in Russia's Kaliningrad region. Kiev said that its action put the Russian ship out of action. This is the 3rd year of the Russia-Ukraine war. If 2022 was about military aggression and territory grab, 2023 was waiting for Ukraine to shift the front line. 2024 started with Ukraine very much on the back foot. What should have been a year of compromise and peacemaking supported by the West has become about dragging out the pain and suffering in Ukraine for as long as possible. Sure, neither Ukraine nor Russia are ready to compromise, but the fall of strategically important city of Avdiivka early this year, combined with the under-delivery of Western weapons to Ukraine and the civil-military friction in Ukraine, has all cast doubts on the future of Ukraine. And Russia has taken advantage of this. Ukraine has become a war of attrition. Russia's strategy, as they say, is a hen pecks grain by grain. Here's what we mean by that. Amid the war in Ukraine, Russia has started spending around 7.5% of its GDP on defense and security. And in comparison, only 11 NATO members spent more than 2% last year on its defense and security. And as a result, we're seeing how Ukraine is heavily outgunned and faces growing pressure on the battlefield. As for Ukraine's allies, the war triggered energy crisis in Europe, but it's not just Europe. Blockades of Ukrainian grain exports have worsened hunger in some of the world's most vulnerable areas. As Russia withdrew from the Black Sea Grain Initiative, which had allowed some shipments to resume, global food security is in even greater danger. Analysts say that the big prize eyed by Russia is Ukraine energy, mineral and agricultural assets. Russia's stated war goal of conquering Ukraine's eastern regions and southern shores is not coincidental. These regions, which include Ukraine's section of the Black Sea and now mainly controlled by Russia, account for Ukraine's oil, gas, coal and reserves, the bulk of Ukraine's critical minerals, especially the rare earth metals that are now in high demand and likewise found in Donetsk. And what's more, a number of crucial agricultural crops feeding global markets, including wheat, corn, barley, sunflower oil, are harvested in eastern and southeastern Ukraine. The war has not only disrupted the production of these resources, it has also shut down the supply of vital inputs, making future investment rather uncertain. And that's why we say the battle is now for control of these resources. You see, a rapid defeat for Ukraine in the first days of the war would have been embarrassing for the West. But a slow defeat, despite endless declarations of support for Kiev, would be a catastrophic defeat for the West. And now, more than ever, the stakes in the Ukraine war are high. No one should doubt that. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.